Hello, this would work better if I had my smartboard, but I'm going to give her a try and adjust as we go along. For Unit 5, Lesson 6, our learning objective, our target is I can divide decimal numbers by 1 and 2-digit whole numbers by dividing decimals by whole numbers, by solving division problems in which decimal places must be extended or created, and by exploring patterns in division by powers of 10, and use the relationship between multiplication and division to solve simple division problems mentally. We have done most of this before when we've divided and had a remainder that we needed to change into a decimal. Key vocabulary that you should know and use when you're explaining what you're doing to people. The dividend, that is the number or value that is divided, and the divisor is the number you are dividing by, the groups you are taking out. In this example, you have 4 that you're dividing into 1/3 equals 12, meaning if I had 4 of something and I wanted to take out groups of 1/3, I would have 12 groups of 1/3. If I took pies, 4 pies, cut them into thirds, I would have 12 pieces of pie. Okay, as we're exploring dividing decimals by whole numbers, money works great. Obviously, this would work better if we were doing this as an activity as a class. And if you have money at home, actual money works just as well as fake money for doing this. Let's say 3 friends set up a lemonade stand and made $20.25. They want to share their money equally. How much should each person get? So if I have 2 tens, I cannot share those equally among the three people. So I ungroup the 2 tens by trading them in for 21s. Now I can split the 21s into 3 groups. If I split the 21s into 3 groups, here's where I wish I had my smartboard. They would get 20 divided by 3 would be 6. Ones each. So they would get, this person would get 6. Another person gets 6. And the third person gets 6. Oops, that's funny. With 2 ones left over. So there we are, 3 groups of 6. Now, with the leftover ones, I have 2 ones left over, 2 tenths or 2 dimes, and 5 pennies. So now I can ungroup the 2 ones into tenths by trading the $2 in for 20 dimes, giving me a total of 22 dimes, or 2 and 2 tenths. Now I'm going to split the 22 dimes into 3 groups. Well, 22 divided by 3 would be 7 each. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for one person, 3, 4, 5, 6 for another, and the third person gets 6, 7, giving them now $6, 7 dimes, and I have 1 dime left over. I also have the 5 pennies left over yet. So now my next step would be as I would ungroup the 1 10 into 10 ones by trading in my dime for 10 pennies. Give me a total of 15 pennies or 15 cents, 15 hundredths. Then I can split those into 3 groups. And I kind of organized that perfectly for me. They would each get 5 pennies. So now their total would be having the 6 ones, 7 dimes, 5 pennies, or $6 and 75 cents, 671 hundredths. Now, like I said, this would obviously work better if we actually did this with money. After seeing that, you can see why we would rather do the long division. Let's take a look at it. How are you going to do it division-wise, rather than taking out money and actually doing it each time? So I have 20 divided by 3. There are no 3s in 2 tens, so I ungroup my 2 tens as 21s. There are 6 groups of 3 in those 20. 6 groups of 3 would have used 18 of my ones, leaving me with 2 ones left. Those 2 ones cannot be put into a group of 3, so I'm going to change the 2 ones or ungroup the 2 ones into tenths by bringing down the 2 and putting in my decimal point. Now, don't forget to put your decimal point into your quotient. When I'm done and check the reasonableness of my answer, if I didn't have it there, I would realize it too. Now I have, still following the same steps, 22 divided by 3 is 7. There's 7 groups of 3 that I can take out of 22. When I take 7 groups of 3, I'm taking 21 tenths out, and I would still have 1/10 left. Remember, that was the 1 dime we had left before. 1 is less than 3, so I can't put that 1 dime into a group of 3. I'm going to bring down the 5 hundredths, and that changes my 1/10 into 10 tenths, totaling 15 hundredths. When I break those 15 hundredths into groups of 3, I can take out 5 groups of 3, 5 groups, or I'm going to think of it back the other way, 3 groups of 5 hundredths would be taking out 15 hundredths, or 3 groups of 5 is 15. And I now have 0 left. So that completes it. Is my answer reasonable? Well, something that 20 and 25 hundredths is close to dividing by 3 would be $21. Divided by 3 would have been $7. So I know they should each get a bit less than $7. And they do. Now you should be able to do page 209. They also talk you through that. You can rewatch this video if you need help, or look at their help as well. Now, dividing a decimal by 2 digits really isn't different. Think of our division before when we were dividing by 2 digits. A company bought 38 sandwiches for a business meeting. Each sandwich costs the same amount. The sandwiches cost $161.12 in all. What was the total of each sandwich? So I'm going to say in total they were $161.12. I want to divide them into 38 equal groups for 1 sandwich each. So again, I look at my divisor 38, and in my head I'm going to think of 38 as 40. 40 is easy to divide by because it's a multiple of 10. Can 1 be divided by 38? Nope. Can 16 be divided by 38? No. So I can't put 1 100 into a group of 38. I can't put 16 tens into it. But I can put 161 ones into a group of 38. When I think of 40, think of dividing by 4. There are 4 4s in 16. I'm going to try 4. Remember, that's my estimate. It's not necessarily correct. Now, 38 groups are 4 groups of 38 would take out 152. So how many are left? Would be 9. Since 9 is less than 38, I know I can't take out any more. So I can't take any more ones out. So I'm going to bring down my 1/10 and change that, ungroups my 9 ones into 90 tenths. So I have a total of 91 tenths. Don't forget my decimal point in my quotient. Now 91 divided by 38. Well, there are how many 4s in 9? 2. So I think there's 2 38s in 91. And 2 groups of 38. Well, if I double 30 is 60, double 8 is 16. That would give me 76 or 7 6/10. As I subtract, I get 1 5/10 or 15 hundredths, or 15 tenths, sorry. 15 tenths cannot be broken into groups of 38, so I'm going to bring down my 2 hundredths. When I put in the 2 hundredths, I now have 152 hundredths that can be broken to 38. When I look at my 40, I say, how many 4s go in 1? None. How many 4s go in 15? Would be 3. But then I noticed right here, 4 multiplied by 38 was 152. So 4 hundredths multiplied by 38 would be 1 52 hundredths. Hard making that 2. And when I subtract, I have 0, so I'm done. Rewatching this part of the video should help you be able to do page 210. They also talk you through it. All right. Now, sometimes we need more in our dividend. When that's the case, we don't change a number by adding the value of a number by adding 0. We already did this when we had remainders. If I'm dividing, if I have 8 friends bought movie tickets, the total cost of the tickets was $78. How much did each friend pay? Well, my 7/10s can't be put into groups of 8, but my 78 ones can. How many how many groups of 8? If I make groups of 8, how many would each ones would go in there? I think there would be 9. 9 multiplied by 8 is 72. That's a poor 7, Mr. Springer. When I subtract, I have 6 ones left. Yep, that can't get put in there. So I need more to divide because they have to pay that money, right? I add a decimal point and a 0 both to my dividend still is 78. I just have 78 and 0 tenths. Now don't forget my decimal point in my quotient. When I bring down my 0 tenths to change the 6 ones into 60 tenths. Now how many 8s go into 60? I think there's 7 8s in 60. 7 multiplied by 8 is 56. 7 tenths multiplied by 8 would be 5 6/10. Now when I subtract, I have 4/10 left over. Well, those 4/10 still need to be paid for those tickets, don't they? So I'm going to attach another 0 at the end of 78. It's still 78, but now I have 78 and 0 hundredths. I can bring down that hundredth to ungroup my 4/10 into 40 hundredths. Awesome. I know there's 5/8 in 40, and 5/8 is 40. So 5 hundredths groups of 8 are 40 hundredths, or 8 groups of 5 hundredths would be 40 hundredths, which leaves me with nothing left. After watching this part of the video, you should be able to do page 211. On page 212, we have done some of this. We've done multiplying by powers of 10 before. Now it's dividing by powers of 10. I want you to explore and see the patterns. As you do these, they're set up for you to be able to see the pattern. Also, apply what you know about multiplication and the patterns of multiplying by 10, by powers of 10. Good luck. Rewatch the video anytime you need to. This lesson may take more than one day. Not a problem. Maybe even 3 days. Not sure. Don't worry about it. Go as long as it takes you. Make sure you understand it. Again, good luck. Have a great day.